Hey YouTube, so we know trading is all a numbers game. So in this video, I'm gonna show you how to properly calculate your risk and your lot sizes. So let's jump into the charts. All right, so here is just a random setup that I selected here. And there is a very powerful tool that you need to get familiar with, and that is the risk to reward tool. Now, rule of thumb with any position is typically you wanna risk 1 to 2%, 3 at the absolute most per position. So when we find a trade setup, the first thing that we need to do is see what the potential reward is for what we're willing to risk. And then when we find out the numbers for our stop loss and our TP, we can take that information and plug it into MT4, which I'll show you some of the tools that I use for that. So let's just say this line here, that is gonna be our entry. And let's grab our risk to reward tool. So on the left hand side, you will see this menu, and you want to come down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 down here, and you want to click that, and you'll see long position and short position. So if you're buying, you're going to use the long position tool, and if you're selling, you will use the short position tool. Now, a little tip here, you can see the stars that I have right here. So I select those stars so that I have a floating toolbox so I can easily access those tools. So here you can see it here, and I have all the tools I most commonly use all in this toolbox here. So the long and short are tools that I use pretty frequently, so I have those favorited. So we're gonna select the long position, and I'm going to click right on the entry. Now, once I have that on the screen, this is where we need to drag the two different areas, the top and the bottom, for our targets and our stop loss. So we're going to remove this line, and we're gonna put our stop loss right under this low here. So I'm gonna drag this up here, and you can see that it's going to display how many pips this is for your stop loss. Now, what we want to do now is grab our target. So let's just pick a random spot up here because it's really not important what we choose. And I'm going to drag it up to here. I'll try to keep it as even as possible. So now we can see the points for the target and the points for our stop loss. And combined, that is going to give us a risk to reward. So we can see that being displayed here. So that is a 5. So for every dollar you're going to be risking, that's going to give you yield a potential $5 return. So if you're risking 1% and the target is achieved in this example here, that would be a 1 to 5 risk to reward. So risking 1% to accumulate 5%. If you're risking 2%, that would be risking 2% to potentially accumulate 10% if your target is hit. So now what we need to do is take these numbers and plug them into our MT4 so that we can get our lot size. So for this example, I'm gonna use 2% risk. So I'm gonna pull up one of my MT4s, and I'm gonna slide it into the screen. I'm going to try to split screen this. So the tool that I like to use is called One Click Trade, and you can download this for free by going to the marketplace inside MT4, and then you want to type it in right here. So One Click Trade. And when you do that, it will pop up along the bottom. So it is this one right here that says One Click Trade MQLTA. And then you want to just click on that and press download. And once you have that downloaded, you will see it then appear in your navigator right here. And if you don't have your navigator open, you can simply always go to view and you can select whatever you need open. So in this case, you would want to make sure your navigator is open and then come down. Let me close some of these here. You would want to come down to Expert Advisors. And sometimes it'll show right in the main Expert Advisors drop down, but other times you can see the market. And since we downloaded this directly from the market, you would want to expand that, and you can see the One Click Trade tool here. Now that you see the one-click trade under market, we're gonna drag this onto the chart and make sure it's the same pair, US 30, and since I already have it on the chart, it's going to ask me if I want to replace it. I'll just do it for this example. And you will see one-click trade come onto your chart up here, and just make a note that you can only have one expert advisor per chart. So if you have another expert advisor that you're running, you would want to open up a second US 30 chart and put that on the second chart. So what we want to do is click on this pencil, and that's going to give us a drop down box. And this tool is great because it can work for market execution, market orders, or pending orders simply by clicking this green box. Now, for this example today, it doesn't really matter what type of order. We're just focusing on how to figure out our lot size. I will show how to use one-click trade in another video. So what we want to do now is click on this third box here. This is the options panel, and this is where we're going to enter the risk. So again, rule of thumb is 1 to 2%, 3 on the high side, and I typically am always risking 2%, 1% in specific situations, but 2% is really my max. So the only thing that we want to touch here is where it says risk percentage, and by default this will always be set to 2. So it's something that you want to get in the habit of when you put a one-click trade on your chart, and before you exit it or enter a position, you always want to just make sure that the risk that you intend to use is filled in here properly. So we can see 2 is filled. We're going to just click save just to confirm that we have the right risk being used. And then we're going to come back and click this here. This is the pencil button here that says new order panel. And the cool thing about this tool as well is it will always display the current spread for the pair, asset, or commodity that you're looking at. So you can see we have a 90-point spread right now with this broker on US 30. And with this risk that we now just calculated, so 2%, this is automatically going to use 2% of the available capital that you have in your MT4, your broker platform. And what we want to do now is figure out what our lot size is going to be. So regardless of how big or small your stop loss is on these charts, we never want it to exceed 2%. So the biggest component in this equation is how big the stop loss is. So when we take the percentage that we're gonna risk per position, let's just call it a $200,000 account, and we're gonna risk 2%, that is $4,000. So then essentially what we're doing is dividing that number by the pips. And that's the great thing about these tools like One-Click Trade. They have a built-in position size calculator that will figure all that out for us. The only thing that we need to make sure of is that we're factoring in the spread, determining, depending if you're buying or selling. So we're buying here, and we can see right here, let me see if I can make this a little bigger. So we can see here for the stop loss, we have 429 points, and for our target, we have 2,147, giving us a 1 to 5 risk to reward. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna type in 429 into this box here, and just make sure that your stop loss button here is set to by points. We don't want it by price. So I just click that, and now it puts it on the points. And now I'm gonna type in, right in this box here, stop loss in points, I'm gonna type in 429, but I'm going to add a 0. And when I click off the screen, now you can see my recommended lot size based on a 429 point or pip stop loss and the 2% of this account. That's going to give my recommended lot size 9.09, and all I want to do is click that, and it will put it into this box here. Now if I were to click buy or sell, it will use this lot size here, and it will put a stop loss at that many points above or below your entry, depending if you're hitting the buy or sell button, which in this case we're buying. So it would execute a position at 9 standards and put the stop loss right underneath this low. So it's something that you want to pay attention to if you use this tool. If price flicks up slightly as you're entering, it's going to put the stop loss exactly 429 points below where you enter the position. So that's with market execution. So you might, in some cases, have to drag your stop loss down slightly to cover the low or the high. Now, what we want to also do now too is enter our TP in points. So we can see 2147, 2147. Again, we're going to add the 0. So if I were to now press buy on this one-click trade tool, it's going to enter in this position here at 9.09 lots, and this will automatically put my stop loss where it should be based on this calculation, and my stop loss based on this calculation, so under this low here. And that will accurately be risking 2% of your account for a potential 10% gain. So this is a great tool, and this is something that you need to do with every single trade that you execute in the market. Doesn't matter if it's a pending order or if it's a market execution order. Trading is a numbers game. It's all about the numbers, and more importantly, it's all about the risk to reward, right? That's how traders are able to balance out the variance and be a consistently profitable trader, especially without having to really focus on a win rate when we have a favorable risk to reward and we're using our proper lot size and, more importantly, proper risk. So I hope you got value from this video, and I will see you in the next one.